There is a woman in Scotland who can smell Parkinson's disease. Years before her husband was diagnosed, she noticed a strange, musky odor coming from his skin. She did not know what it was. She did not know what it meant. But years later, when he received the official diagnosis, she realized she had detected it long before any doctor could. That woman has now helped researchers develop early detection tests for Parkinson's. Tests that work because they are based on something she could smell that no machine could. She is rare. Almost no human has that ability. But there is one species that has it constantly. One species that has been quietly noticing the chemistry of human disease for decades, without any of us realizing it. Dogs. Dogs do not just have a great sense of smell. They have one of the most sophisticated chemical detection systems in the entire animal world. Their noses contain about 300 million scent receptors, compared to roughly 5 million in humans. The part of their brain dedicated to processing smell is 40 times larger than ours, proportionally. That means a dog can detect substances at concentrations as low as parts per trillion, the equivalent of 1 drop in 20 Olympic swimming pools. And those substances include the chemical fingerprints of human disease. This is not science fiction. This is real, documented research that has been growing for over 20 years. And the more researchers study it, the more remarkable it becomes. Let us begin with the disease dogs are most famous for detecting. Cancer. In 2006, a study published in a respected medical journal showed that trained dogs could detect breast and lung cancer with an accuracy of around 88 to 97%. They identified it from a simple breath sample. No imaging. No biopsy. Just a dog sniffing a tube. Other studies have shown similar results for prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, colorectal cancer, and melanoma. Trained dogs consistently outperformed expectations. And in some cases, they detected cancer in patients who had not yet shown clinical symptoms. The reason this works is something called volatile organic compounds. When cancer cells grow inside the body, they release tiny chemical particles into the bloodstream, the breath, the sweat, and the skin. Humans cannot smell those particles. Most medical instruments need expensive equipment to detect them. But dogs detect them naturally. To them, cancer is not invisible. It is just another smell. The second disease dogs are widely known to detect is diabetes. Some dogs are specifically trained as diabetic alert dogs. They live with people who have type 1 diabetes and watch for changes in blood sugar levels. When the person's blood sugar drops dangerously low, the dog can detect it through scent and alert them, sometimes hours before the person feels any symptom. Researchers believe this is connected to a chemical called isoprene, which rises in human breath during low blood sugar. The change is invisible to us, but it is loud and clear to a dog. There are families today who say their dog has saved their life multiple times by waking them up in the middle of the night before a hypoglycemic event. That is not a coincidence. That is biology. The third disease dogs can detect involves something even more dramatic. Seizures. This one is still being studied, but dozens of families have reported that their dog began behaving strangely minutes, sometimes hours, before a seizure happened. They paced. They whined. They sat unusually close. They tried to push the person onto a soft surface. Researchers believe dogs may be detecting subtle changes in the person's scent, breathing, or hormone levels that occur before the brain triggers a seizure. Some dogs have learned this behavior on their own, without any training, simply because they live closely with someone who has epilepsy. This phenomenon is so consistent that there are now seizure response dog programs around the world. The fourth disease dogs have been studied for is Parkinson's. Trained dogs have correctly identified Parkinson's based on skin swabs in research environments. The disease produces specific volatile compounds in the skin's natural oils, particularly around the upper back and neck. These compounds appear long before motor symptoms begin. Some researchers believe Parkinson's may eventually be detected through breath or skin testing, partly thanks to discoveries that began with the noses of dogs. The fifth disease, surprising to many, is migraines. Some dogs have been observed becoming unusually attentive, anxious, or clingy in the hours before their owner gets a migraine. The exact mechanism is still unclear, but researchers suspect dogs may detect early hormonal or biochemical shifts that occur before the headache begins. Owners often report that their dog stares at them, refuses to leave their side, or starts gently nudging them long before they feel any pain. And then there is something more recent. In 2020, dogs were trained to detect COVID-19. The study showed accuracy rates above 90% in some trials. Dogs could identify infected individuals from a swab of sweat, often faster than laboratory testing. This is now an active area of research, with multiple countries deploying detection dogs in airports and hospitals. But here is the part of this story that affects every regular dog owner. You do not need a trained medical dog to benefit from this incredible ability. Many ordinary household dogs notice subtle health changes in their owners. They do not announce it. They do not bark in alarm. But their behavior shifts in small ways. They may begin sniffing one specific area of your body repeatedly. Your chest, your stomach, the back of your neck, a specific scar, a specific limb. They may become unusually attentive, quiet, watchful. They may start sitting closer than usual, refusing to leave your side. They may even seem worried during moments when you feel completely fine. These behaviors are often dismissed as random, but sometimes they are not random at all. Many owners have realized only in hindsight that their dog had been responding to a health change weeks or even months before any medical signs appeared. This is part of why dogs feel so deeply connected to their humans. They are not just emotionally bonded. They are biologically tuned in, constantly, without any of us realizing it. Of course, this does not mean every behavior change is a medical signal. Dogs change behavior for hundreds of reasons. But it does mean that paying attention to your dog matters more than most people think. Your dog might be reading your body in ways you cannot perceive. And in some cases, they might be giving you information about your health before any doctor can. That is one of the most remarkable abilities in the animal world. It is also one of the strongest reminders of how deeply intertwined humans and dogs have become over thousands of years. Not by accident, not by domestication alone, but by something much more biological, something built into both species. A connection so old, so ancient, that dogs can quite literally smell the chemistry of our health. And many of them do it every single day, simply because they live beside us, But there is one specific behavior detection dogs show that even researchers find difficult to explain. Something subtle. Something quiet. Something every owner can learn to recognize once they understand what to look for. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And that is exactly what we are going to reveal in the next video. So if you made it this far, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and tell me in the comments, has your dog ever acted strangely toward you before you got sick?